Hi, everybody. Welcome today. Welcome to the Backstory Podcast. I'm very excited today to bring you some new people that you may or may not have seen before. But this is the beautiful part about these podcasts is that I'm out of channel. I'm not channeling the group live, and I can talk to other channels. We can compare notes. We can talk about some of the fun things that have been happening today. Today, I'm very excited to bring you Jill M. Jackson. She's a very powerful speaker who's been traveling all over the world and doing some interesting things too that we'd love to have you share a little bit with you, have her share a little bit with you about what she's been doing and how she got going and all the rest of it. Because we know that most of you that are watching this are either healers or teachers in your own right. Some of you want to get ideas. Some of you like to see how other people are doing and how other people have done it. It's a great opportunity to bring you some of these people. And one of them I'm really thrilled to bring you today is Jill. So Jill, welcome. Glad you're here. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you for having me.
My honor, my honor. So tell me a little bit about your work. You've got some incredible things that I'm reading on your website and so forth. And I do apologize. I'm not super familiar with your work before because obviously we're all pretty busy with our own stuff. But tell me a little bit about your work, how you got started.
Yes, I was born a medium. I was able to see the spirit world since I was a small child. And for years, I had experiences with the other side. And I tried to become normal, whatever that means. And I became a CPA. I became a business manager. I lived in Hollywood and managed the money of the entertainment
Right.
industry and ended up sick twice. And
Oh, geez.
throughout those illnesses, realized I was not on my path. And that's when I stepped into serving spirit full time and
It's like
offering readings.
it's like Ready or Not. You were going to push you into it, right? Well,
Yes, ready or not.
yeah, I had the same. I had similar story in some ways. When I finally opened up and started receiving the group, I was a general contractor at the time, and we bid on jobs, to keep things going. And all of a sudden, it was nothing. I couldn't get a job to save my life. I was lowering prices and making deals, and it was real obvious the door was blocked, and it caused me to step out and step into the real work. Absolutely. It was painful for me. I know. I hope it wasn't so painful for you.
Well, and that's how the universe works a lot of times, as we know,
Yeah.
Steve, because our guides are gently or sometimes not so gently trying to push us into our soul's contract, right?
Right. Right. Yeah. I use the analogy gentle nudges. That's kind of how they work with me a lot of times. Is just the opportunity. I'll be walking down. There'll be a door over here and a door over here, and I don't know whether I'm supposed to go straight or turn or what I'm supposed to do. And they'll give me a gentle nudge. I can ignore it. It's okay if I ignore it. They don't get angry. They don't have egos. So basically, I can ignore it and pretend to be Steve and just keep on walking in my own presence, or I can follow it. So it's amazing to see some of the wonderful things that are unfolding right now. So you were born with this. That must have been really difficult growing up, was it? Did you have to hide it?
Yeah. Well, from a lot of people, yes. I wrote about that in my first book called Mississippi Medium from Southern Baptist to Talking to the Dead.
Oh my
And I
God.
was raised in the Bible Belt. So I have my whole journey in that book. There was only one friend in high school that knew of my gifts, and yeah, but I've been able to see the spirit world from way back until I could remember. But it was interesting because throughout my journey, I came across people who started telling me that channelers would lose their connection to the spirit world because in 2014, I had had a channeling experience with a group called the Emerald Group. And I went into a little bit of resistance around that because of that false narrative
Hmm.
where I thought that I would lose my mediumship gifts. And over time, my own guides, I would go into meditation and my guides would lovingly explain that that is a very limiting belief, right? And that's part of the ego, and that we as humans can learn to tap into any realm that we want to tap into. And so I started channeling as well. I would say, well, definitely in 2014, but I really started embracing trance channeling, I would say, in maybe the last 5 to 6 years.
I, I find it fascinating that there was such negativity about it. I ran across that. Of course, I've been channeling for 30 years now. It'll be 30 years in December. So
Well,
it was amazing to me to see the resistance. And even today, when I go on people's shows and sometimes I'm being interviewed, they'll ask me, well, weren't you afraid? Or, where did you have to protect yourself? And I'll never forget, a good friend of mine had that belief too. And he said, Steve, you really need to be careful. That's really dangerous stuff. You don't know who's there. Aren't you afraid of it? And I said, I'm not at all afraid of this. If you could feel
right.
what I feel when you bring this through, there is no fear. And he said, well, there's fear for me. And I said, that's yours. You're welcome to it. I don't have it. Now maybe you'll understand why I work the way I do. It's unbelievable. But I'm thrilled that you
Absolutely.
got past that, because I know a lot of people get stamped with that. And they think there's a
Yes.
lot of
And it's a
challenges there.
false belief. It's a false
Yeah,
belief because it's just different dimensions that we're tapping into when I'm connecting to people's loved ones. That's in one realm. And when I'm connecting to the higher dimensional, multidimensional beings, that's just in another realm. It's like turning a radio dial, right?
right. That's exactly it. It's all frequency. And to
Yes.
let anybody who's not familiar with the terms that we're using, mediumship is actually talking to people who have passed over, sometimes through a relative or something of that nature. And channeling is just tapping into the spirit world. So they're, like she says, the little different frequencies there. I don't typically do mediumship. I'm not gifted in that area particularly. Although every once in a while in a private reading, the group will say, tell her that her sister says this, or something. So that's about
Yes.
it for me, but that's fascinating. So do you still do a lot of mediumship, or is this now turning into the books, turning into a different way? How's it working for you?
Yeah, I still do all of it. So on my website, I have the different service options very clear. So if someone does want to talk to one of their loved ones that has passed, they can choose mediumship. If they want to talk to a guide or a collective and more of a soul's journey kind of questions, then that's a channeling session. And I help with just basic psychic readings too. So I've learned to tune into whatever frequency is needed for that session.
That's it too. It's basically frequency. Well, that's what the group keeps saying about the fifth dimension. They keep saying you think it's a time frame that's going to drop or a place to go. It's not. It's a frequency, and we
Yes.
can raise our vibration into that as often as we can. The more that we do it, the more we start to live up here. What we're that's what we're aiming for. That's amazing.
Absolutely. So many people for years, Steve, like you said, thought it was a place that we were going to just float up to this other realm. And it's just a consciousness, it's a state of being. My latest book is Manifesting Your Magic in the 5D. And I talk about that. I talk about bringing that fifth dimensional consciousness into our everyday lives because that's the goal, right? We
Right.
want to really be able to enjoy this planet and everything that Mother Earth has to offer, but be able to do it in a high frequency.
And this is the book that's coming out in February, was it? Of next year?
No, that one came out
Oh, that came out.
oh good.
You have a
Yes,
new one
last
coming
year.
out. Tell me about
Yes,
the new
there's
one
an
too.
yeah, the new one is Children of the New Earth,
That's it.
and I channeled about the new breed of children that started coming in 2015. My team channeled that they are called the Golden Rays. They come in on the 12th ray of consciousness. And then another group called the Solar Rays started incarnating in about 2020. They come in on the 13th ray of consciousness. They're very, very different. They're still star seeds, but they have different purposes for incarnating on the planet at this time. And I'm so proud of this book. It's amazing. I have interviews with star seeds from every lineage, going back to the indigos, crystals, rainbow, diamond, blue rays, all of them,
All the colors,
and
yeah.
then all the colors of, yes. And their different traits and
Yeah, they are.
their mission for this planet.
Yeah, they are nuts. And it makes sense as we're raising our vibration, as we're evolving. the children aren't going to be born down here. They're going to be born up here. So we have to make space for that and adjust. Oh my God. Some of the adjustments
Yes.
have been crazy. Absolutely. It's been a
Yes, we
wild
are
ride.
definitely in times in transmutation times, right? With some
That's true.
chaos.
That's true.
Yes.
So the channeling process is really anchored in for you. We teach a lot of channeling courses and different aspects of that, but the the basic you've already said. I believe the group actually says we all channel. We just call it different things. We have different names for it. We have different expertise that we focus in. We have different areas and so forth to be able to do that. But when you really focus in some of these areas like this and make that connection, that's powerful. So the beings that you channel, did you have a connection with them before, or is this new?
Well, the group that I'm mainly channeling now, they call themselves Solomon. It's a group consciousness from the Pleiades, the ninth dimension.
Hmm.
And I started connecting with Solomon in, I would say, around 2020. So probably, the past 5 years, I've really mainly been channeling that collective. And what they said to me is they needed time to integrate their frequency, their resonance, their energy with
Right,
my physical body. As you know, Steve, that's
right.
part of the process as well.
Yeah, I didn't have to go through that as much. I don't know why, except that the group tells me that we've been working as a group for many lifetimes. So this is not new. So maybe that was part of it. But I
Yes.
went through a drastic life change. My God, I was a general contractor. I mean, every sentence started with the word F. It literally, that's just, way of communication. I had to learn a whole different way of talking when I come over here and speak to normal people. It was wild. Uh, but it was really fascinating, the changes in lifestyle and everything else. Just very magical, very magical.
It is magical.
Yeah,
Yes. And I love how the universe kind of guides us on our path because so many people are being gently or not so gently guided themselves. And I feel like it really helps us to hear others' stories of how we had the courage to jump off that proverbial cliff, right? And trust
yep,
and step onto this path and really continue walking forward on a brand new path and journey. And you've been
yep.
doing it for 30 years.
Yeah, I've been doing it for a while. It's been such a joy. I consider myself to be the luckiest guy in the world. I mean, I really was building a different environment, building a different business, building and everything shifted and supported me. That was the strange part. Even the person that probably had the most difficult time with me channeling was my wife in the very beginning. She was very close to me.
Yes.
She knew I wasn't a saint, so she knew and she called herself a recovering Catholic. So we had, Barbara had a lot going there. But anyway, she was probably in one way, she was my greatest supporter, and in another way, she was my greatest skeptic. So I knew that I knew very much that I was channeling because I was bringing through all this information that I had no way of knowing. And she knew me, and she knew that she couldn't believe all this stuff was coming out of me and the beauty and the energies and to be able to talk like that. So it didn't take long to win her over. But in the beginning, it was, you're doing what? You're channeling who?
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, I
Yeah.
had people say to me that were close to me, wait a minute, help me understand. First, you were a CPA, and then you're a
Yeah.
medium. And I said, no, actually, I've always been a medium. I was earning my living as a
There you go.
CPA, and then I stepped into my true path and journey. So, yes, I can understand why people kind of have a little bit of confusion in the beginning for sure.
Well, and the thing that I've seen since I have been in it so long is the change, the acceptance of spirituality in general. In the very beginning, when we first started this whole process, it was it was almost being made fun of in many places on national TV, on late night shows, and so forth. It was kind of a kind of the joke of the super sensitive people, that were doing it. Now it's different. They're being interviewed on those late night shows now. Things are
Yes.
taking on a different aspect altogether. So it's quietly moved and changed everything, and still is. Now we're starting to
Yes.
see much more of the feminine energy anchor, which is just magical, magical. Uh,
Well, part of the solar ray children that I channel about,
Tell
part of
me.
their mission is to bring both the anchoring of the Sophia consciousness and the Christ consciousness in to help each person understand to merge it within themselves, that we have both divine feminine and divine masculine within each one of us, and how important that balance is moving forward into the fifth dimension. So the solar ray children are anchoring that frequency for helping other people understand and wake up to that potential and possibility within themselves.
Awesome, awesome, beautiful
Mm.
stuff. And when you say the slow array children, is this a category of kids that are coming in now? Okay,
Yeah,
absolutely.
they started arriving in 2020, and you know the dates are not absolutes, of
No, of
course.
course
So
not.
you'll have some first waivers and some that come later, but in the book I kind of have the different age ranges going back to the indigos, and even before the indigos, there were the ruby rays that were incarnated, and I write about them in my book. So it's just fascinating to go through history and, like you mentioned, Steve, to see the evolution of humanity's consciousness, to be able to see the reality that we are so much more than our physical bodies.
It's scary on one hand and exciting on the other. We have so
Yes.
many capabilities now and responsibilities. With power comes responsibility, so we got to balance that, or we lose it all. Somewhere along the way.
Absolutely.
Very, very magical. So tell me about your seminars. You do seminar. You travel. You got a circuit you're going to be doing in 2026. Is that right?
Yes,
Tell me,
yes, I
tell me a little
travel.
bit about your work and what does that look like? Are these multiple day seminars? Are they mostly done in channel? How does it work for you?
I don't teach when I'm in channel. So when
Okay.
I'm channeling, I'm writing my books or either writing the material to teach. But then I have multiple day workshops. I do speaking engagements. I have taught at Lilydale in New York for the past couple of years. And my husband, who is also a psychic medium and a Reiki master teacher, he and I have mystic journeys that we lead people on spiritual retreats to power spots around the world, such as Sedona and Glastonbury, Stonehenge, um, Scotland, the stone circles. So that is a huge part of my joy, to be able to take people onto these experiences. And they're usually about 7 to 10 day journeys. And then
That's
we
wonderful.
take them to the power spots. We do ceremony, we have workshops, and I channel at the events.
That's magical. Very, very beautiful. I did a little bit of that in the beginning. I went to Chichen Itza. We did a few other ones. We went to Hawaii quite a lot. That was very magical to have a bunch of people come together and go into some of these power spots with you. It's just beautiful. Just beautiful.
It is beautiful, and you meet the most amazing people that way
Yes,
too,
you do.
from all over the
You really
world.
do. Yeah, I've met some people in Hawaii, Kahuna, that just he he probably changed my life in about five paragraphs. One day just talking to me.
Wow.
Amazing people and the fun part for me is my wife and I got to travel all over the world. We got to travel to different places all over the world. We did seminars in 26 countries, but we'd have local hosts. So the host would say, "Oh, don't go here. That's the tourist spot. Let us take you to our special spot." We just got to see the most magical places. It's just
Well, Steve, that's
absolutely,
amazing.
yeah. It was really beautiful. Barb and I traveled for a long time to be able to do the 15 years every month.
Wow.
It was amazing. So, and that's one gift that I would give to anybody. If I could give a gift to everybody, it would be the ability to travel. because you see things from so many different aspects, even, even within the United States. It's a huge place. There's a lot of different aspects and perspectives to take into consideration. That's wonderful.
Absolutely. Wouldn't you agree, Steve, that traveling also helps us raise our consciousness because it helps us understand different cultures, different people's points of view, different energy. So I feel like it's so important for our growth. And like you said, it doesn't mean that we have to travel across the, globe. We can just drive to places wherever,
It's true.
whatever country you're in.
And there's hot
experience.
spots. There's hot spots all over the world. So,
Oh, yes, absolutely.
we'll want to go to a hot spot in Greece because we've read about it for centuries. But maybe some of the Grecians want to come to some place in Arkansas to hunt, crystals or something of that nature. So there's spots all over the place for us.
Absolutely.
Beautiful. Well, that's marvelous. And your husband, does he write too? Do you two work together?
We are writing our first book together right now. It's a book of fiction, actually. And that's a lot of fun. It's based on the Children of the New Earth. So we have characters that are playing the roles as the star seeds. So we're writing that together. He is a sound healer, and he's also a psychic and a medium, but his passion is Reiki and teaching Reiki and energy. And he's a phenomenal psychic as well and spiritual teacher. So,
Wonderful. That's wonderful. Awesome. And can they reach you? Obviously, both of you be able to be reached on the website. That's magical.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Good. Well, this is incredible. What do you think's ahead with all the craziness that we see on planet Earth? We actually see some really positive things in the future. I know there's a tremendous amount of negativity we could focus on, but I'm seeing some really wonderful possibilities. Tell me what you see. What do you think?
I agree with you, Steve. What Solomon says is that we each have the free will to choose how we want to view reality and through what type of lens. So we can choose to view the reality through the lens of fear, or we can choose to view the reality through the lens of love. And we cannot be in the same emotion at the same time. There's either fear or love.
That's right.
But I understand that there's so much chaos going on, and it is frightening for, some people, and there's a lot of changes. But like you mentioned, Steve, whenever one door closes, like it did for you all those years ago, and like it has for me and others in the past, when we step into faith and really get in tune with our soul's purpose, because that's the key as well, getting to know ourselves, peeling those onion layers back, getting to know our blueprint. What did we choose to come here and bring to humanity? Once we step into that, then it's much easier to step into a place of trust and faith and love, right?
That's it. Absolutely. And yet that first step is the toughest.
Yes.
Taking that, sometimes that's when the group's back there pushing me, just little gentle nudges once in a while to take that step.
Absolutely. I call myself a recovering control freak. I love how you said your wife was a recovering Catholic. Because, we as humans, we want to control the narrative, right? We want to control. But what I've learned is when I let my guides lead the way, my life is so much more simpler and smoother.
That's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. Not always easy to let go, but yes, absolutely to do that. You mentioned something a while back I want to go back to for a minute. You mentioned something about the feminine energy and bringing the feminine energy and anchoring the feminine energy here on the planet on a higher level. That is something the group is really big on and has been talking about a lot. And I think we have a lot of confusion about it, honestly, because it simply, it's interpreted as the females taking over and the males stepping down. And of course, none of that's going to happen. It's a balance of masculine and feminine within each of us to be able to do that. But the illustration they gave me, they said the feminine energy is rising no matter what. And it's rising. Now we saw huge jumps. You saw a huge jump in the Me Too movement. You saw huge jumps in other things of that nature. But now what you're seeing, It's the masculine energy doing everything it can to hold everything in power, to keep it from advancing any further than it is. So we will end up with this balance, but right now we've got some extremes going on in the planet in different ways. So that's just part of the game, I guess, that we're going to be playing. But it's
Yes.
a great
So,
time to be here. That's the reality.
you know, we all agreed to be here during this craziness, huh? And what a
Yeah.
blessing. I am so happy to be able to be a part of this. And I agree with you. It's been a patriarchal society for so long.
Yeah.
But in a lot of ways, that was really challenging for men who also understood that balance within themselves, right? So
Oh, yes.
this isn't about females taking over by any stretch of the imagination. This is about finding that balance. And within each one of us, we need both. We need the masculine and the
Yes, we
feminine.
do.
And it is a sacred balance.
Yes, we do. And in fact, a lot of the men that have come in with that ability to have that empathy, to have that, to be an empath in today's world, is used to be very scary. The men used to have to learn how to hide. That's changing. We're starting to see
Yes.
people change a lot of these things. It's very common for me to have a seminar where I'm channeling at the end and tears are just flowing all over the place. It's just I don't have any control over it. I'd love to take credit for it, but that is the balance of the feminine masculine energy clearing in through different ways.
I love that, Steve.
It's a wild time to be here, and I think you're absolutely right. Our place has been reserved, hasn't it?
Yes,
The space has been
absolutely.
waiting. Well,
Yes.
I'm very envious of you growing up knowing your gifts. I did not at all. I was very busy trying to grow up and build a life and doing everything else, and this just kind of came from. Obviously, I've done it as a spirit, but I've never done it as an incarnate being before, in that way. So this is
Yeah.
that's really magical, very magical.
Yeah, I think there's challenges in both, because there's trying to fit into society and trying to decide who do you tell, who do you trust with this. I call it coming out of the psychic closet, and I really didn't come out of the psychic closet until my 30s. So that's
Wow,
25 years ago that I really stepped fully into the authentic version of myself.
that's
So a lot of
amazing.
people have that fear,
Yeah, no,
really
I do
putting
know,
that.
and it used to be, it was very prevalent for a long time. It still is out there. It's still, like I said, it's still a question that I'm asked every once in a while when I'm interviewed on a podcast or something. It's the same type of situation, but it's just a question. I don't think there's a lot of energy behind it, a lot of fear behind it anymore, and
Right.
we're creator beings. I do not step aside and give my body over to the group. I've offered to do that, but they said no, we're not interested in that.
Yeah.
They said we chose you. What did they say? We chose you because of your experiences, because of who you are, because of your failures, because of your successes, and we don't bring everything through you. Some people will go through other people, but that's part of it. So it's been
That's awesome.
a wild, wild ride.
And I
So
love how,
go ahead.
oh, I was just going to say, I love how different channelers work in different ways. Like you said, some have such a close bond and relationship with the groups that they're channeling. They just come right through. For myself, I go into a trance, and I honestly, the Solomon has said that it's really more for me than
Right.
it is for
I know that
them,
one.
you know?
I know that one. When I was
Yeah.
first starting to awaken, I was learning to try to meditate. I say try, I never did succeed at that. But I took over my son's room. He moved out of the house, and I took over his room, made him a meditation room. All my pillows, my tingsha bells facing north, everything that I had learned. And here I am, and the group says, "Steve, are you ready yet?" And I go, "No, wait, I got to." They would laugh at me. They'd just be,
It's hilarious.
I'd finally say, "Okay, I'm ready." and then they wouldn't say a word. And they knew that bothered me. They play with me like that all the time. So yeah.
I love that sense of humor.
Yeah, well, that's it. And they say, you can do that. They say that we don't object to that, but it's for you. It's exactly what you said. It's for you.
Yes.
If that helps you to get in the mood, to get in there's all kinds of tools you can use. That's perfect.
Yes.
But they don't need it. You're right.
No.
Yeah,
Absolutely
we
not.
teach in one of our channeling classes. We taught one of the channeling pieces we taught is called meditating in an elevator. In other words, how to drop into that space where you can receive a message very quick, not lose control, know exactly what's going on, still stay in consciousness, but get something really quick and pop out of it. So there's.
I love that. And how useful is that in everyday life, right?
Well, that's why we wanted to do it. It's about
Yes.
practical magic. That's
Oh, I
the
love
basic
that.
idea. Awesome.
I love
So
that.
what's next for you? I see a lot of things on your site. What's coming up next?
Just continuing to write and teach, and my favorite passion is just helping people step into their authentic truth and their authentic expression. So
Right.
I'm going to be having some new live training classes coming in 2026. And one of my favorite things, my husband and I created a community called the High Vibe Tribe. And in
High
the
Vibe, I
High
love
Vibe
it.
Tribe, yeah. And it's just a safe space for seekers, all kind of light workers, and we have 3 to 4 to 5 live events every single month. We switch it up every month, and it's a lot of fun. We love that as well. So I'm
That's
excited
nice.
for what's to come.
That's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. We're just about out of time here today, but I've really enjoyed our time together, Jill. We will please come back. We'll be in touch with you. I'd love to keep in track where you're going. But do you have any final piece that you'd like to share with everybody here today?
Absolutely. I would say that the final piece of wisdom is to really learn the difference of our ego and our higher self. And if we can
Oh,
learn
wow.
to make our decisions from the wisdom of the heart, then our lives start going in such a more beautiful and magical way. And it's just about really stepping into the truth of who we are.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yes.
Jill M. Jackson, thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate it. And thank you for sharing your wisdom with all of our groups here today. And the idea is just to pass it on. Keep talking, keep spreading the light any way you can. Thanks for being with
Thank you,
us.
Steve.
All
Thank you,
right.
Steve.
Thank you everybody for being here today. We appreciate it. We're all part of a big family. And the whole idea is that we can create miracles within ourselves if we just reach out and take each other's hands. We can fall prey to the old third dimensional concepts of competition, of bettership, of measuring ourselves in different ways, or we can step into the fifth dimension and just get it done. We can do it. We can make it work today. Thank you for being with us. Spav, everybody. We'll see you at steverother.org. And check out Jill's site and Jill's stuff. She's got some awesome things going on here today. Spav, everybody. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for taking your power.